you're completing your second term, your 8th year in county council. Why do you want another term?
I'm requesting a second term, and I'm serving because I serve to represent the people and to bring about positive change in Georgetown County. Currently, with my current colleagues and the administrator, we're making incredible progress towards economic development and bring forth projects that will bring about funding to make things happen for Georgetown County. I want to see things happen. I want to see the improvement for people in Georgetown County. As that expression goes, the rising tide lifts all ships. We have a very diverse county. We have one section of extreme affluence and another part of the county with extreme poverty. Again, the rising ship lifts all boats and to make this thing a better place. So this is why I choose to run and to be effective and bring about positive change for Georgetown County.
Now, one thing, when you're an incumbent, unlike a newcomer, you've got to run on your record. Newcomers don't have a record to run on. They can only talk about what they want to do. So let's talk about what you have done. You've been in office almost 8 years. What do you think are your accomplishments during that time?
One of the things that I'm proud of is being the author of a hate crime ordinance for Georgetown County, which has also been presented to the State House. Every year, on the second Tuesday of the new year, I read that ordinance to the body to again emphasize that we push our state elected officials to move forward with passing this hate crime bill for the state of South Carolina. South Carolina, along with Wyoming, is the only 2 states in the nation that do not have a hate crime bill.
Now, why did you think that was important, especially for Georgetown County?
Well, for people to work together to accomplish things, we have to work together. Black and white, Republican, Independent, Democrats, whatever. Accomplishment only comes by us working together. And in light of what happened at Mother Emanuel years ago, it is imperative that hate be taken off the board and progress, working together with all people, be part of South Carolina's moving forward.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the other things you say, hey, I'm glad this happened in the past 8 years?
A number of things. We're seeing economic development move forward in Georgetown County. The Andrews Industrial Park on 521, if anyone just take the time to drive up towards Andrews and make that right turn onto Technology Drive and see the 100,000 to 200,000 square foot buildings being built in that industrial park. Part of our partnership is with, say, Santee Cooper, Santee Electric, and Georgetown County Water and Sewer, where the partners come together to gather the money to build the industrial building and attract industry to that location. Many times these are startup businesses coming from other parts of the country with employees of 40 to 50 employees, and they'll ultimately grow their business. We currently have 5 buildings underway in addition to those that are in the park. And those, when you see the buildings, the structures there, that business is on the way to be coming here and setting up.
Now, one question I had for your opponents is about the Andrews Industrial Park. It's very close to Andrews, but not in the town limits. But Andrews is one area that Lambert Town Center that needs, a kick of industry, a burst of industry to help them. Should county council and the county make sure that that park is completely full before you look at other places, other industrial parks to put businesses?
All right. Excuse me. Currently, we're about ready to build out that Andrews Industrial Park.
So it is almost full.
It is almost full. And we are currently looking and have identified another location for broadening that industrial park.
So it's not only almost full, it may get bigger?
It may expand.
Yeah.
Another will be built about 4 miles away in proximity.
4 miles You don't
4
have 4 miles
miles.
left in the county going towards Andrews, so it would have to be 4 miles.
Within the stretch between 9 Mile Curve and the current industrial park.
Okay, okay. And you already have prospective industries to come to that one if it happens?
Well, here's how this works. You have companies, national and international, that may initially contact Georgetown County. We have an economic developer and consultants who in turn pass that information on to the South Carolina Department of Commerce. They in turn vet that company on how much land they want, how many employees they'll be building, how much of an investment they'll be making in Georgetown County. And as this dialogue moves forward, we rally with our partners, Santee Electric, Santee Cooper, and Georgetown County Water and Sewer to try to make this happen.
Let me ask you about the Pennyroyal Industrial Park. I mean, there was a big push, to buy that land and to get it into the county's hands so that you can make it an industrial park. It's been quite a while since that happened, and we've heard nothing since then. What's happening with that one?
Okay, in many cases, patience is a virtue. The company that has identified that they're doing their due diligence, we simply have it coded as Project Current. They promised to bring 300 employees to the area, or employ 300 employees with an average salary of $100,000. We must allow them to do their due diligence. Due diligence includes doing wetland studies, historical studies, protected tree studies, wildlife studies, access and use of the Sanpete River to take their product downstream and onload to ocean-going ships. So again, once the due process is completed and that company says, yes, this is the place for us, they will close or consummate the deal and finally buy out the property.
So we may see something in the next, few months, year?
Can't put the time on it. They're doing their due diligence. That's what I can absolutely guarantee.
And that's for the Pennyroyal.
That is for the Pennyroyal
Industrial Park.
Morrisania, yes.
Okay, so that may start to develop, and you're talking about another one near 9 Mile Curve.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That would be good news if it all comes to pass.
Yes.
Yeah. So one thing that did happen during your tenure in the past 4 years is the it is yet to be created, the solar farm in the Lambertown area. A lot of people did not want that.
Yes.
But it's still coming.
Yes.
I know you voted against it, if I remember right.
Yes, I did.
But did you know, even though you voted against it, you knew it was going to pass, right?
Well,
you knew you and Mr. Newton were going to vote against it, but you knew it was going to pass.
The numbers were there.
Yeah.
The community let it be known how they felt about that particular project. It boils down to this. Land's available, for sale sign goes up. It could have been Silicon Ranch, it could have been D.R. Horton. Pick the one that you want. A D.R. Horton project, as you've been hearing, things that they're doing down in other counties, Dorchester County, the D.R. Horton project that was on Highway 17 next to Apple Cool Storage, that has been stopped until the South Carolina Aeronautics, the city, and the county can come to some decision in recognizing the place of where that development was going to be in the path of the runway. So again, once D.R. Horton can make a decision on where they're going to go on that, that's the only situation that can be corrected.
But some people may say, you voted against it knowing it was going to pass, so that this year, when you're running for re-election, you can say, well, I voted against it, but you knew it was going to pass anyway. Yeah.
It passed. It passed. And the situation is we had 5 colleagues that voted for it. You look at the complete scenario on the future of the use of energy in Georgetown County. We've been waiting for Santee Cooper to finally give us a time frame when they will be decreasing their use of coal. We are looking at energy situations, global warming, worldwide what is happening. We're looking for a more effective energy source worldwide in addition to Georgetown County. The solar energy that's generated from the Silicon Ranch project, they in turn sell 75% of their product to Central Electric out of Columbia. Santee Cooper buys 25%. And the purpose in using solar energy is to keep, they in turn sell it to the rural cooperatives, which hopefully will keep our energy costs down.
Now, one thing we heard from the folks in Lambertown, Saints Delight, Sampit during the public hearings about the solar farm is they want their community to stay like it is. You know, they don't want development. You guys are tackling the land use plan starting the 25th. Do you see those areas? I know the focus has been on the Waccamaw Neck and you know the major changes that could come there because of the land use update. What about, we haven't heard a lot about Lambertown, Andrews, Sampit. Does the land use plan as written now change that area much?
We have not seen the final draft, but once it's presented, then we can see how that will affect these communities now and in the future.
But will you fight as a council member to, if there are major changes in the land use plan for those areas, will you fight to like rewrite the plan or, you know, make changes to that part of the plan?
Oh, absolutely.
So that people can, you know, keep the area like they like it?
Well, change is coming, and you are attempting to work and understand the situation of the areas that the people live in. Currently, you have development up and down the East Coast counties. We have an increase of development in the Charleston County coming north. We have development in Dorchester County. We got development in Berkeley County. We have an incredible development in Horry County, and we sit in the middle of all of this. Hard decisions are going to be made. I look at economic development. It should include not only residential development, but also commercial and industrial development. They have to go hand in hand. If we don't have that major industrial and commercial development, which would provide entry-level jobs or creating jobs for our young people are leaving this area. You currently have a high number of affluent people, retirees coming into Georgetown County. Developers are building on what they see as the population movement. And this is what we are facing right now. We have a number of housing developments on the drawing board for Planning Commission. It's either thumbs up or thumbs down with them, and then it moves over to County Council to make that final decision. But there is a high influx of movement of retired, affluent people into this county, and developers see it, they know it, and they're building towards that need.
So the Lambertown, Sampit area, it's going to change, is what you're saying?
There's a possibility.
Yeah.
There's a possibility because Pennyroyal Road, for instance, that's one of the few roads from Highway 17 to St. Delight that has water and sewer infrastructure down that entire road. In addition, you have Resource Management, one of the largest landowners who grows trees for International Paper, which has well over 40 to 50,000 acres available. So there's a possibility that there will be discussions not only with Resource Management, there may be developers that have discussions with Resource Management to actually acquire property in that area.
Now I know you've mentioned, and I think it's on Pennyroyal Road, you'd like to see some of that land used for affordable housing.
Yes.
What's your plan with that?
Well, again, that word affordable housing, I like to use young, professional, affordable workforce housing. That term is a misnomer because there's a term called annual median income, household income. That equates to how much of a house can be built. Now, you got 46 counties in this state. Every county has a different AMI, or annual median income. That equates to how much of a house, 30% of your annual income, that would go either to rent or to a mortgage. Now, you have to find that special developer who can work that formula. That's the situation. They'll come in, look at what the AMI is. You're looking at how much of a square footage of a house you can build. Case in point is Georgetown Estates on the Andrews Highway. After Beverly Homes bought that property, it sat for over 12 to 13 years, undeveloped. You had roads, infrastructure there. Beverly Homes built it. They built 34 homes, square footage about 1,200 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. They initially sold for $80-some odd thousand. The last house built was $198,000. So you're dealing with the cost of building materials, which spikes the cost of the house. So this is what determines the end cost of a house. The wharfs that was proposed, that's now off the drawing board at the foot of the Sanford River Bridge, those starting prices was $330,000 to $440,000. If we have a natural disaster, we have a war, we have anything that affects the economy, that same cost for material can spike, thus the cost of the house will go up. And so we're in a holding pattern waiting and to see what that housing cost will be. That drives the cost of the house.
Let me ask you about the capital project sales tax. You're going to be tackling that too, starting the 25th. I guess you won't talk a lot about it, the first reading, but I guess in July you'll start talking about it. From what you've seen, the plan that the committee put together and the list, what do you think?
It's a good list. It covers the complete areas in the county. It touches needs for District 3, 5, and 7, the unincorporated areas. It touches projects for the Waccamaw Neck. So it's a well-balanced plan. Proposed first year, a minimum of $10 million. The ultimate, if it goes 8 years, it'll be $80 million, but I'm sure it'll be much more than that. The projects listed are those that will also benefit the county. And that was the main purpose, that these projects, it'll be a twofold thing, not only for another municipality such as Andrews, Georgetown City, or Paulus Island, but it benefits all. It benefits the county and it benefits our 3 municipalities. I feel it's a good list.
If you're a betting man, I'm not asking if you are, but if you were, would you bet it would pass in November?
Well, part of it is educating the voters that they absolutely positively understand the functions of it and how it will benefit the area. The main thing is that the citizens have a clear understanding on the capital project sales tax and also the loss, the local option sales tax.
But the trust factor, because in 2014, a referendum passed. The big thing on the list at that time was the dredging of the port, the port in Georgetown. That didn't happen. You've got the building in Andrews that's still half built, that didn't finish from that referendum. How do you convince people that, well, this time we're going to tell the truth and it's really going to all happen?
Okay. Well, not only the truth, but that is taxpayers' money. And when you're handling taxpayers' money, you have to show accountability. And that every one of those projects, one of the things that I want is some sort of statement or guarantee of accountability that whatever and wherever we place that money, we will sign a contract that the responsible party will be guaranteeing that the project will be completed.
Okay.
Money will go where it is and it will be completed.
Well, let me ask you this. I mentioned Andrews, and one of the criticisms we hear from Mayor Frank McCleary and others is that you're never seen in Andrews. You never meet with anybody in government in Andrews, and you're basically not there. They feel they're not represented by you in Andrews. I'm not saying everybody feels that way, but at least we've heard the mayor say that, and a few others. What's your response to that? do you represent Andrews? Do you meet with them?
Absolutely, and I hear that. I have met with the mayor on many projects. I've met with the mayor on the issue of the ambulance station. When he called me, I went up there, met with he and the administrator. We walked through the building. We talked about the situation, that scenario. We've talked about the issue with the Andrews Police/Fire Complex. We have been in dialogue. I've met with a citizens group in Andrews, the Andrews Beautification Group, on that particular project after I started a project for Grave Station, removing dilapidated houses. Here you had citizens from Andrews who took it upon themselves to go and drive around the city and identify dilapidated structures in the town. These citizens took pictures, got address, got tax map numbers, and the name of the owners. They compiled a list that they presented to their city council, presented it to the mayor. I told them they wanted to form a nonprofit. I said, I'll give you the roadmap on what we did in Grave Station. We were able to get $200,000 of ARPA money. We removed 30 houses plus dilapidated structures out of Grave Station and part of Greentown. Removing these structures helps improve the values of the property. We had a citizens group that did the very same thing, presented it to their city council, and it hasn't moved. The issue of again, we are in litigation concerning the fire/police complex. Unfortunately, it took the turn that it did. It didn't have to go that route, but we are in litigation on that project, and once it clears, I hope there'll be a clear vision of where we can go with it.
Now, as far as there was a recreation building that was part of the old Andrews High School, and it was torn down. But during that process, asbestos could have been released in the air. It didn't seem to be handled correctly. Why is that? Did you do anything to help keep that from happening, or?
Well, again, there was not a clear direction and information given on the project. Number one, I was there with the mayor on that project. I was with the media with the mayor on that project. There was a lack of communication on the project, where the county took it upon them to remove that building. There was a gas line still active.
Right.
After the gas line was compromised and the building, and there was a stop order put on it by DHEC. And at that time, asbestos exposed in the community. I was there. I was interviewed by the media about it. I was absolutely against it. When you talk about transparency between governments, our organization, and the city, it should have been better. It could have been better. We dodged a bullet, because if you've seen where gas lines have exploded elsewhere, they've gone down streets and blown up houses. So again, there has to be communication in these processes. And it went from a budgeted $3,000 project to over a $300,000 project. So again, it calls for communication. It goes both ways also. And the town of Andrews, for the town of Andrews to move forward with any sort of projects, they have to work with the county. One person can't do it all. You have to have a team. You have your team of your city council people, and you also have a team of your county council. And you have to work together.
So let me ask this about Andrews, and one of the big topics over the past couple of years has been the ambulance service. Of course, the ambulance moved from the town limits to the Big Dam area. If you're reelected in the next 4 years, will you work to help get the ambulance back?
Oh, absolutely. Now, the issue is this. It was a grand plan to create Big Dam. Okay, that almost rhymes. Okay.
Mhm.
But there was an existing building, in my opinion, that could have been still utilized. I was there with the mayor and his administrator and the chief of the fire service, and we met in that building. In my opinion, that building was still viable. In a matter of a couple of days, it was suddenly destroyed. Sometimes you may have a grand plan and you rethink the process. And I have documentation that I presented to the mayor and his city council to explain that I was against the destruction of that building and the move. You have a dialysis center. You have schools in that town. You have retail operations. You could have accidents that occur. You could have fires that occur. So, looking at it realistically, you would need maybe an ambulance at Big Dam and also one domiciled in the city limits of Andrews. There are so many things that could happen. The rail lines, the train coming through the town could block off access on one side of the city where ambulance or fire trucks need to go. You could have a slip and fall in Piggly Wiggly, slip and fall in Food Lion, in the drugstore, wherever. You could have a sports event going on and a player is injured. So sometimes you start a project, you develop it, but then you rethink it that we need to come back and revisit that. And this is one of the things I'll be working on, trying to find a location, at least for a smaller fire truck ambulance combination within the city limits of Andrews. It's absolutely needed.
And Big Dam would keep their ambulance.
They could keep it.
Okay.
And the way the system is right now, it's like I call it a shell game in a positive way, because when incidents are going on, the EMS service and their communication, they're rotating equipment around the county. Mm-hmm. You could have a major situation on the Walkmore Neck. Let's just think about the situation that happened at Santee Cooper about 10 days ago with the young man that unfortunately passed at Santee Cooper while operating the bulldozer. I was in the window of my office when I saw a Midway fire truck responding. Mm-hmm. So when I saw the Midway fire truck responding, I said something big happened. I didn't know that the incident had happened over at Santee Cooper. So again, in your emergency services, you hope with the way it's coordinated with the county EMS that you have a rotating of equipment for events throughout the county. And again, that was what was presented to us. But then even when you think about it, you could have a number of incidents happening at the same time and maybe something may get dropped. So to have a fire truck and an ambulance station on a smaller scale until that larger situation is resolved, a station, a fire truck, and an ambulance is needed in the city of Andrews. And that's one of the projects we'll be working towards.
Final question is Tuesday, when people go to the polls for the primary, or if they vote between now and Friday in early voting, why should they vote for you and not one of your opponents?
Well, number one, I truly believe, just by the nature of having been in the political arena for the last approaching 8 years, it's that experience. It's developing a camaraderie with your colleagues and understanding the needs of the county. Experience counts. Experience counts. And part of this great process that we are here in America, the democratic experiment, is that everyone has the right to throw their hat in the ring and present a platform and run for office. That's fair. But then you look at what has been accomplished and the vision of that representative for the future that will help us move forward.